It's the end of summer update video. Several things to talk about this time around. First, let's talk about the unfortunate demise of Caves of Cud. So, I wasn't happy it had to end, and neither were you guys. I had said in the final episode that I had planned to return to it at some point in the future, but based on the apparent popularity of that series, I'm considering doing it sooner rather than later. I don't mean next week or anything, but probably before the end of the year. My question for the viewers who watched it and want more of it is it better to start over or not? Originally, I'd thought of just starting over from the beginning. By that point in the future, I would anticipate several updates that may have changes worth looking at. However, based on the footage I recorded, to get back where I was would take around 10 hours. And that's 10 hours of stuff you've already seen. Alternatively, I could remake the character, work up to that point, and then continue from where we left off, essentially living in an alternate timeline. So let me know your preferences in the comments. Secondly, the replacement series will be the new Shadowrun game. I've played the others, so naturally I'm interested to play this one. And it's not for everyone, so I'll probably continue Lethis until that game is finished alongside it, which I'd estimate at about another 3 or 4 weeks. My channel is mostly known for the city builder stuff, but I'd like to keep this dual series going where I have a city builder and an RPG or a strategy game. With that in mind, I can reveal some future series for this fall. The developers of Antharian, Duskers, and Hearthlands have all sent me Steam keys for their games, which is actually pretty awesome, and I feel obligated to at least look at them. From what I can tell, however, they are all early access, or at least being actively developed, and I don't normally like playing games in beta because I'd rather have the polished experience, but the current trend among developers is to release it well before then, and new games just keep coming out, so if I want to cover these 3 that fell into my lap, I may have to break that rule. Hearthlands is a city builder, which only has a sandbox mode now, but definitely looks like campaigns will be added to it, and Duskers seems like an interesting pseudo-roguelike. Antharian might actually be complete, but it's an old-school RPG, which means it could be huge, and if you remember my Let's Play of Avernum, I ran out of patience for that sort of thing near the end. Plus, no one really watches RPGs past a certain point, so it wouldn't necessarily be worth putting dozens of hours into. I might try main questing it and see how that goes, though. Prior to receiving those games, I'd had my heart set on playing XCOM. It was a game I wanted to do when it came out, and wasn't able to because of my computer at the time, but now I should be able to. And with the new one around the corner, it might be appropriate to do. I'm also currently working on a secret series that I think you'll like, but it's going to take a while because of extensive editing, yet hopefully will be ready by the end of the year. And of course, there's still the matter of Shadowgate and Pokemon Conquest, both of which I will admit I haven't been doing anything with. It's really just hard to get back into an old series when there's something new that I want to do instead. But the final thing I wanted to talk about this video was donations. I don't know if he wants to be named, but a viewer recently sent me a rather generous donation via the PayPal fund that I have linked on my channel page, for which I'm very appreciative, and it made me think about setting up a Patreon page for the channel. I've tried to avoid blatantly asking for money before, since I'm already partnered and I'm not really that big of a channel with super quality content, so that would be a little presumptuous. I'm also not as engaged with my viewership as some Let's Players are, and this will never be a career option. However, Patreon does allow fundees to set goals based on subscriber donations, and I was thinking that if there was interest, I could set something up for the channel. For example, at $30 a month, I could use that money to purchase a new game and do a series on it. And by new, I mean recently came out, as opposed to doing a lot of the old stuff that I have. And then from there, maybe things like a new AAA title, or a weekly Let's Quickly Play, or begin a Saturday stream, etc., etc. But what I want to know is, would there be support for that? Because I'd feel like I was exploiting people if there were only a handful, and it was like, well, we didn't get enough for anything this month, but thanks. Although I suppose there are a lot of cheap indie games on sites like itch.io and Humble Bundles, so we could make something work. But let me know what you think about that. Anyway, that's all I have to talk about this time around. kind of excited with where things are going, and I hope to provide you with even better content in the future. As always, thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.